arrived in Tijuana.
Game on. I mean, I think that the administration is ready. They'll be detained until they see a judge, because back in 2014, when more than 80% of them lost their cases, they got put on planes and sent home.
The Florida recount drama happening right now.
An election office this incompetent, the election's decided by a judge or by lawyers, not by voters the way they're supposed to be.
What the Democrats are trying to do here, this is a trial run to figure out what they do in 2020 when Donald Trump is on the ballot.
Breaking right now, the National Guard just called in to help search for hundreds of people missing. At least 50 people have been killed statewide.
All eyes on the House Republican leadership race, where Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy is the favorite to stay on as Minority Leader, despite a challenge from Jim Jordan.
Controversial Christmas gift, to say the least. Keep and Bear is the name of the company. They released a building block set encouraging children to build the wall.
Here, the Cars. I brought their first two albums. We're talking about albums in the first hour of the show. This seems like the whole band sings at the same time, right? It seems like there's a lead singer. It seems like everyone's singing the same lyrics at the same time.
How old were you when the Cars were popular? Like what grade?
I think probably 6th or 7th grade. And I think the rhythm guitarist was from Massapequa.
Rick Ocasek, didn't he marry supermodel Paulina Poroskova?
Right, and I think they're still together. Do you know Joel?
Yeah, they're still together.
They're still together.
I think they live in New York City.
Joe collects all the supermodels.
Oh,
collects them all.
No, I mean, collects their cards, their trading cards.
They have...
of course.
Did not realize that.
Yeah.
All right,
you
let's
learn a
move
lot
on
this
to
show.
some of the news. There are hundreds of those migrant caravan folks that have made it up to the border. This is right below San Diego, California. This is the border city in Mexico, Tijuana.
That's right. And so apparently 9 buses pulled into the Tijuana area yesterday. A number of the migrants, most of them are from Honduras, they decided to get a closer look at the United States. They've been traveling for weeks in many cases. They wanted to see what it's like. So they went right up to the wall, and as you can see, some of them climbed up on top. Some of them actually jumped down into the United States. And
like that guy right there.
Yeah, and he's going to be running back towards the camera guy because the Border Patrol said, hey, you're on the United States soil. We want to talk to you. And then he went back into Mexico.
And this is hundreds. Get ready for thousands. They say that when all the caravans catch up to each other, and there's at least 3, there'll be 11,500 coming. And if they all choose San Diego, which I believe they are, because Mexico seems to be making it easier now, they show up with these multi-level buses, and they're pushing them right to the border. For those people who said, what's the big deal? They're thousands of miles away. They're here. And they might be fine people. We don't know. But bottom line is, this is not the way you do it. You don't run to into our country, climb the wall, and just hop over.
Yeah, well, there's a Catholic-run soup kitchen down there in Tijuana, apparently, that's offering all of them food. And then there's so many of them, they can't all stay at that one shelter. So there's several shelters that are run by churches and civic organizations down there feeding them and just housing them.
Right. And the way it works, and we heard from the president last week, if you want to come to the United States, you want to ask for asylum, you got to go through a port. Well, there's a port right there. But unfortunately, and it's kind of... it's an unofficial way, but because there are so many migrants and people who want to immigrate into the United States, the migrants actually keep a notebook, and it's a waiting list. And there are 2,500 names in front of the 360 that arrived yesterday. It sounds like another 200 are on their way. And what they will do, and we heard from Tom Homan a little while ago, they'll be metered in. They'll take a certain number per day, and they'll say, okay, you want to apply for asylum? All right, why do you think you are entitled? And then, as Tom Homan said, they will be adjudicated one at a time.
There are going to be there are about 7,000 troops that are going to be sent down there to California, Arizona, and Texas. They have also put up barbed wire fences and barricades. And you also have the Defense Secretary, James Mattis. He's going to the Texas border today to go down there and visit with the troops.
Meanwhile, we're a country that needs a guest worker program that's efficient, that could expedite this process. Maybe they say 85% of the people that come up are males. And if there are men that can work and there are jobs that are available, if we could get together in Congress and come up with a system, this could begin to work for everybody. But right now, nobody's working because nobody wants to compromise.
Okay. Reportedly, according to a number of news items out today, the President of the United States is frustrated at the lack of getting things done on our southern border. And supposedly, Kirstjen Nielsen, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, is on the chopping block job-wise. Keep in mind, historically, after midterm elections, there's a lot of churn. A lot of people leave their jobs. But reportedly, she may be out. And there was one story out, I believe, in the Associated Press this morning that said she might be leaving this week if they actually had a successor. But the story went on to say they may not have a successor, even though we this morning talked to somebody who might be up for the job.
Well, we had Tom Homan, who used to be the acting ICE director. He's now a contributor for Fox. And we asked him about this headline that was in Politico. It said, Trump considers tough-talking former ICE director for DHS chief. And this is what he had to say.
I've read the same stories. My phone blew up last night. We'll just wait and see what happens. But I think we got a secretary in place now. I think we need to support her. Secretary Nielsen for 7 months, probably retired. It's a 24/7, 365 job. I mean, with the immigration, which 50% of America hates you 100% of the time. You can't win on this topic because it's so divisive, so controversial, so emotional. But I think she's working hard, doing a good job. If the president's going to make a change, I mean, that's certainly his prerogative. But I really don't want to speculate what the president's going to do.
There are stories out that Kirstjen Nielsen could be leaving, John Kelly may be leaving, Wilbur Ross may be leaving, Ryan Zinke may be leaving. And we had Corey Lewandowski on. He has an idea that the president would like to make some changes, but no names officially.
Well, if that is true, the president, I mean, he just really loves Thomas Homan. I'm sure he does because he's been a big supporter of the president and is a tough guy and a nice guy. But he was here at Fox. I met him when he first started at Fox, and he said that he tried to retire. The president said, please don't retire. I need you to help me with ICE. And so he stayed around. He called his wife. He said, honey, I can't say no. I got to do this. And then he ended up leaving his government position and staying longer than he expected to. And then if he's asked to go back, I wonder what his response would be.
Yeah, it was supportive of Nielsen, but he didn't rule it out, so who knows. Meanwhile, also breaking right now, the Florida ballot drama literally heating up.
The voting machine overheating, and that is delaying the recounts in that area. A judge offering a 5-day extension.
Griff Jenkins is live at the Broward County Office of Elections, where they say they will meet tomorrow's recount deadline, Griff, but there are all sorts of stories about how some people want to extend it a couple of more days because of the breaking down machines. Where do we stand right now?
Well, in Palm Beach, guys, the machines are a little different than the ones here in Broward County, and they've called in a mechanic. Who knows where you find a mechanic for a voting machine, but they found one, and they think they're going to do it. But the machines here in Broward County are running smooth. Let me show you, though. We've had a little development. Now, we've got an update that they've counted 299,000 of 715,000 total ballots they got to get to. What you're looking at is actually the sorting of mail-in ballots. They've been doing it most of the night, and they may be done at some point, they tell us this morning. But here in the front row, they've just put 4 legal observers for the Republicans. Over here, 4 legal observers for the Democrats right in front of us. Remember, we've been seeing the guys stacking stuff here. Now they put them here. We don't know why. We'll just say, hi. Hi, how are you? These are legal observers here, and they're observing all of the ballot things happening back there. And, as we look at that deadline tomorrow, Thursday, 3 p.m., they are very confident here. The election supervisor, Dr. Brenda Snipes, says no doubt she's going to meet that deadline. Take a listen.
We won't miss that deadline. It's too critical. We won't miss it. All the emphasis, all the focus is on me. But I have a great staff who takes on any task, and their job is to get it done. So there is an excellent foundation to this office.
And assuming they make that deadline, lawyers from both sides say they believe it's going to lead to a manual hand recount. Meanwhile, the candidates, Senator Nelson with Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, taking shots at Governor Scott. Governor Scott in D.C. as well for orientation, taking shots back at Nelson. It'd be very interesting if they run into each other. Guys?
All right, Griff Jenkins live in Broward County. Regarding those machines in Palm Beach County, apparently the county government did set aside $11 million to replace those machines, which are over 10 years old, made by a company called, I think, Sequoia, which is out of business right now. But they decided not to buy the new machines this year because apparently by 2020, they've got to have a different kind of machine. So they didn't want to waste the $11 million, but now here we are.
Can they buy a machine that won't be outdated in 2 years? There's got to be a company that is up to speed.
And the problem with these machines is they can only do one recount race at a time, and they're recounting ag commissioner and governor and Senate.
So they'll do Senate first.
One at a time.
They'll do the Senate first, and then they'll work on the other positions because the Senate's so neck and neck and really close.
Do what I do, and there's a problem with the machine. Bang the side.
Really?
Right. So they should try that.
They've got a technician there banging the side right now. Boom, 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 boom,
That's
boom.
his head against the wall.
That's Brian in the break room. When the vending machine, the pretzels get stuck, he has to bang it.
I'm angry.
Or you can just put ice on it. I mean, that seems to work for your
Right, when it gets overheated. Brian, at the beginning of the show, said that's what his DJ friend did when his equipment got overheated.
Right.
But
It probably doesn't apply to the story.
Probably does not.
Yeah.
That's all I could come up with, though. All right, let's get caught up on the news, starting with this Fox News alert. And a fast-moving brush fire of those deaths coming from the Camp Fire in the north. Firefighters are gradually gaining control of several wildfires burning right now. The Woolsey fire outside L.A. is expected to be fully contained by Sunday. We will have a live report from California in just a few minutes. Well, day 2 of drug kingpin El Chapo's trial starting in just over an hour. Prosecutors say Joaquin Guzman shipped so much cocaine, every American could have their own line. The feds also say he used a personal army to kill rivals and family members. Guzman's lawyers claim he's a scapegoat and the real leader is still in Mexico. Opening arguments were delayed after 2 jurors were excused for medical and financial reasons. Deputy National Security Advisor Mira Ricardel could soon leave the White House. First Lady Melania Trump wants her fired. Her office putting out this statement saying, quote, "It is the position of the office of the First Lady that she no longer deserves the honor of serving in this White House." Ricardel apparently clashed a number of times with the First Lady and her staff over travel issues. Key leadership roles up for grabs today on Capitol Hill. Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy is the favorite to stay on as Minority Leader, despite a challenge from Jim Jordan. Earlier, the Ohio congressman told us he wants to help President Trump deliver on his promises.
I don't think they've seen the same intensity from House Republicans. Did we replace Obamacare? Did we reform welfare? Did we secure the border and build the border security wall? Some key things that we told them we were going to do that we haven't done.
No major changes are expected in Senate leadership. I'll send it back to you.
Votes today.
Yep.
We'll know tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Jillian.
All right.
All right, coming up straight ahead, you just heard about the recount battle happening in Florida, and there's another Republican caught in the chaos you may not have heard about. He joins us next.
Plus, they may look like Legos, but these building blocks are a little different. The toy company that's making the holidays great again? Wait till you hear about this.
There is a third Republican caught in the chaos of the Florida recount. State Representative Matt Caldwell is locked in a tight race for state agriculture commissioner, and he has filed a lawsuit of his own against Broward County.
Caldwell says nearly 80,000 votes magically appeared after the polls closed. And he joins us right now live from Fort Myers to tell us the story. So let me get this straight, Matt. You were way ahead when you went to bed. You got up the next day. 80,000 votes appear, and your opponent is in the lead.
Yeah, it's totally outrageous, and we're just trying to get to the bottom of it. We were up 40,000 votes on Tuesday night. Based on what was reported, there was only 30,000 votes that could have possibly still come in from Broward. So we declared victory, go to bed, and over the next 4 days, they found 80,000 ballots, as you said. And every time we asked, where did they come from? Are they vote by mail? Are they early votes? Are they day of? No answers on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We finally had to file a lawsuit against them. And in fact, Ms. Snipes refused to be served with that lawsuit twice. It took us a third time finally on Saturday to serve it. Got us in court here yesterday and the day before. We're trying to get public records out of her so we can just demonstrate a chain of custody. Where did these votes come from? Because as of Tuesday night, there's no possible way she could have had 80,000 votes hanging out there. And I think before we move forward, we've got to get a straight answer on exactly where all these votes came from.
Well, by law, isn't she supposed to tell you guys where those from where they came?
Exactly. If you go to any other supervisor in the state, 65 other offices can tell you which kind of vote it was, when it was cast, where it was cast, and what time it was reported. You're required to finish early votes at 7:30 on Tuesday night. You know, there's no more of those cast after Sunday. It's closed for 48 hours. She still had that line open until Saturday. How is that possible? And you over and over again, you ask, where are these vote by mail numbers coming from? Or is she voting votes that came in before 7 on Tuesday, or is she still collecting mail, which is illegal on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? My point is to make sure anybody who voted legally before 7 o'clock, let's count those votes. Whoever's the winner's the winner. I'm not looking to win through some kind of legal loophole. I just want the truth, and I think we deserve it.
So you're looking for transparency, but at the same time, do you think there's something funny going on?
Well, it certainly could be. I mean, you look at the history of this office. She's already been found guilty earlier in this primary of messing things up. You've got 2 years ago in 16, illegally destroying ballots. We've got an affidavit from an employee in 16 who says she caught other employees filling out blank ballots in that election cycle. We're probably going to end up presenting that in court. It's really incredible.
All right, so your opponent was Nikki Fried. What's happening now? Is she gone to Tallahassee, or is this still just tied up in court and there hasn't been declared a winner?
Well, this election doesn't get certified. The timeline is next Tuesday is when that's supposed to occur, following the recounts, and we'll probably have a manual recount once the machine recount is done coming this Friday. But again, all of those steps really for me are impossible to contemplate because I haven't gotten a satisfactory answer about the origin of 80,000 ballots last week in Broward County, and that would directly affect the outcome of this race. That's really the answer we've got to get before we can move forward on any of these other questions.
All right. He's a Republican. He's running for Ag Commissioner down in the great state of Florida. Matt Caldwell, thank you very much for telling us.
If you run again, you might need to move to a different county.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Meanwhile, remember this illegal immigrant charged with a brutal triple murder? Wait until you hear what we just found out about him.
And you've seen the video. Senator Rand Paul harassed by the left at the airport. His wife, Kelly Paul, was also targeted, and she joins us with a message for lawmakers on both sides next.
What do you want us to do? If you don't need to, we don't want to run after you. We want to have a conversation with you.
Now, a federal judge is expected to decide today whether or not to count all absentee ballots cast in the Georgia's governor's race. This, despite many voters failing to include their correct birth date. A different judge ruled Tuesday requiring just one county to do so. And a district court judge in Washington, D.C. could force Hillary Clinton into finally giving some real answers about her emails. A Judicial Watch group wants the failed 2016 presidential candidate to testify under oath. She submitted written answers 2 years ago, but claims she did not recall the answer to several questions. Now this.
Meanwhile, you may remember when Senator Cory Booker said this.
Go to the Hill today. Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
Well, some protesters took him literally, going after prominent Republicans, including Senator Rand Paul, who was harassed at an airport, and his wife blamed Cory Booker for encouraging the harassment.
How do you even look at this as a gray area? It's a clear area. Kelly Paul joins us right now with a message for lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who are now coming together for criminal justice reform. Kelly, did you see this on video? Were you there?
I'm sorry, are you talking about
that video that we just saw of the harassment at an airport as Rand, your husband, was walking through?
Rand was by himself at that time, but I think what really motivated me to write my letter, my op-ed, was that our home address was doxxed, so and Rand's personal cell phone number. So it felt extremely threatening to me.
Surely. In the meantime, you are squarely behind, as your husband is, this bipartisan effort in the U.S. Senate to reform criminal justice statutes in this country, including something called the First Step Act. You know, and it sounds like the president's going to come out later today, Kelly, and endorse it. I know his son-in-law, Jared's been working on it for a while. What is it exactly? Because a lot of people haven't heard about it because there's so much going on with the elections and everything else.
The First Step Act is a bipartisan bill, has support on both sides of the aisle, to enact prison reforms and sentencing reforms to correct some of the terrible effects of the 1994 Clinton crime bill, which has resulted in a 500% increase in the number of people behind bars in this country, which is just absolutely not sustainable. And most of that increase is due to our drug problem. These are not violent people. These are people that have addiction issues, substance abuse issues. We have the opioid crisis in my home state and across the nation. And the First Step Act looks to do some things like giving more opportunities for recovery programs to those in prison, more opportunities for job training, counseling, time for good behavior, especially for low-level offenders, and also giving judges more discretion. We had the mandatory minimums in that crime bill, and really giving people these horrific sentences, sometimes 10 and 15 years, based on federal mandatory minimums, and not letting judges use their discretion as to the situation or whether this person is truly a threat or not. So this has support on both sides of the aisle, and I'm really excited to be up here advocating for it. As you said, President Trump has been a leader on this, Ivanka and Jared Kushner as well. So I think it's just incredible that we may finally take a leap forward on criminal justice reform under this administration.
Anytime, especially nowadays in this divisive political season, when you hear bipartisan, everyone jumps for joy. Finally, we can unify and agree on something. I'm impressed that you, as the wife of a lawmaker, wanted to get involved. What made you want to step up to the plate?
You know, I've been interested in this issue for a long time. Some of it's my family legacy. My father-in-law, Ron Paul, was talking about overcriminalization of drugs back in the 80s and 90s, and that it would lead to unintended consequences, as we have seen with whole communities being devastated, with mothers and fathers being incarcerated, being far away from their families. One of the prison reforms in this is that you try to, wherever possible, if someone is incarcerated, that they are close to their family, so they have that support.
Yeah.
We have to remember that eventually most people will return to society, and it benefits all of us in our country to give them opportunities for support from their families and paths forward and redemption, frankly.
The word is that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was pushing back on it. He's now gone, so maybe the new Attorney General will be for it. You get people like Van Jones together with Rand Paul and Kelly Paul. It's a big deal. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Coming up straight ahead. A Fox News alert. A new fast-moving fire erupting overnight in California. We are live at the fire zone. That's next.
Plus, Senator Joe Manchin just won re-election in a tight race. Does he think Republicans and Democrats can work together on Capitol Hill? We'll ask him live.
Fishing landlines, running
We are back with the Fox News alert. Brand new video showing the intense Santa Ana winds fueling a brand new brush fire in California.
How does the cameraman even get that close? That is terrifying. The fast-moving flames threatening houses in San Bernardino County.
Jonathan Hunt is live in Malibu as the Coast Guard joins the search for hundreds of missing people. And Jonathan, I saw you yesterday. You were in a neighborhood you used to live in that has absolutely been decimated.
Yeah, still there today. Steve, Ainsley, Brian, good morning to you. This is the actual street I used to live on. It's awful to see so many homes here destroyed. But the good news here in Southern California and indeed in Northern California at the Camp Fire is that firefighters largely have the upper hand now and are being helped by more favorable weather conditions. Up north at the Camp Fire, it is turning now into a grim search for bodies. The National Guard being called to help in as 48 are reported killed, up to 200 still unaccounted for. And those who survived say the reason so many didn't is that they had so little time. Listen here.
It happened so quickly. You know, we had trained for this for years and years and years. We knew Paradise would burn. You know, it wasn't, is it going to burn? It's just a matter of time. You know, when will it burn and how bad will it burn? And this is beyond, any comprehension.
We're seeing some fascinating before and after pictures via satellite from Geospatial Intelligence, a company that helps insurance companies process claims. They showed the damage that the fires did in the Thousand Oaks area just outside of L.A. and also outside of L.A., about 55 miles east of downtown. Overnight, we had this new fire, the Sierra Fire, spring up. It's not threatening too many homes right now. We seem to be getting a handle on it, but it shows the danger is not completely over. Steve Ainsley, Brian.
All right. Jonathan Hunt, live from the street he used to live on in Malibu. Thank you.
So you got Malibu and the Inland Empire and a huge gap in between where a lot of people are concentrated. So it's going to be tough to control. I don't know. There's enough firefighters in the country to contain this.
They need better weather. They need the winds to stop, and they need some rain out there.
Firefighters from all over the country have gone out there to help.
All right, 25 minutes before the top of the hour, and Jillian joins us with some more news.
That's right. Good morning. And we now know an illegal immigrant accused of triple murder was a dreamer. The Center for Immigration Studies says Luis Perez was given DACA status in 2012 and 2014. Perez is accused of killing 3 people in Missouri earlier this month after he was arrested for different crimes last year in New Jersey. The jail that was holding him denied an ICE detainer request and released him in February. Jars full of explosive powder allegedly found underneath a man's bed. Police arresting Joshua Coburn at his Florida home after receiving an anonymous tip. The chemical, known as the Mother of Satan, has been used in terror attacks around the world. But Coburn argues he uses it to make fireworks. He is behind bars facing a bomb-making charge. Officers blew up the powder. Calgary's bid to host the 2026 Olympics takes a big hit when voters say no. 56% voted against submitting a bid for the Canadian city. Critics claim hosting the games would be a financial burden. Calgary's mayor says he's disappointed, but accepts the people's choice. Stockholm and Milan are the only cities to officially submit bids for the games. And take a look at this. A conservative company, Keep and Bear, introducing a new line of toys encouraging kids to build the wall with MAGA building blocks. The set comes with a President Trump figurine and a Make America Great Again hard hat. That's interesting.
Look at that.
Yep, you like toys.
Yeah.
All right.
A gift for the kids or for like the Trump voter?
Both.
All right.
I think you're right. A little of both. All right, let's go out to the streets of New York City. Janice Dean is joining us. And Janice, it's starting to feel like winter.
It really is. What happened to fall? Are you guys excited for snow tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Really? Where are you from?
From Aruba.
Will you take me with you?
Oh, depend on you.
Okay. We'll ask my husband. Okay, let's take a look at the maps real quick, because you know what? We have some snow coming. We had snow in Houston, Texas yesterday. The earliest snowfall for them, and snow earlier than New York City. In Houston and parts of the South, you can see where it is cold. We're talking about single digits, teens and 20s across the South here. Look at that snow in parts of Northeast Texas, in Arkansas, Louisiana. We had reports of snow in Mississippi. It's on its way to Tennessee and Kentucky. And this is also going to mean a potential winter storm for parts of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. We're going to see some snow and ice and a mixture of the two with that rain along the coast, but certainly some areas could get 4 to 6 inches of snow. All right, you guys, are you just excited to be on TV with me?
That was awesome.
Give me your best wave. Fantastic.
All right.
Yes.
They're already ready for the snow. Those guys behind you are bundled.
So they're ready for the snow. Are you ready for Fox Nation? Coming up right after Thanksgiving on the 27th, Fox Nation starts. A lot of people have been lucky enough to be asked to contribute to Fox Nation. Everyone's got different categories. My category, which I've been shooting for the last, and you guys have known this because I've been telling you this, for the last year, is what made America great. I'm able to go to these different spots around the country, and I'll have a different theme next year. I'll talk more about people, but this year is more about places. But along with those places come special things you did not know about these places. Here's a quick look at what you can be expecting if you're smart enough to get the app starting on the 27th. And it's, $5 a month. I mean, I've loved doing this. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy thing. I mean, it's weekends and nights, and the producers have done an incredible job. They say this is one of these things where it goes as long as you need to tell the story.
Right.
We're told in this business 90 seconds, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Interviews 4 minutes, as long as it takes to tell the story.
And that's the beauty of Fox Nation, which is coming very soon. Go to foxnation.com to sign up and figure out what it's all about. Because ultimately we want to tell the whole story rather than have to short circuit things. And this is the perfect way. One of my assignments is to go out and with people you don't normally associate with cooking. And we just it's really they're cooking, but we're learning their stories when they're.
They've asked each of us what's important to you. And you, because you just came out with a cookbook, you're cooking with friends, you love history, you're going out talking about what makes America great and telling these wonderful history stories. Even the music, the shooting, it's the shots, it's all beautiful.
And where are you going?
I have shot something with Make-A-Wish Foundation. This weekend, I'm going down to Tampa to highlight a family that got a house through Building Homes for Heroes, which is an organization I've followed for many years, and I love this organization. We're doing a mom segment on Friday after work. So these are some issues.
And you're going to Washington, but you can't give away.
Going to Washington, yes, on Monday after work to do something really special at the White House.
That's a good. Oh. Well, that narrows it down.
That's all I can tell you.
Go to foxnation.com to sign up and become a founder, if you would like.
Yeah, great producers. Meanwhile, 19 minutes before the top of the hour.
Senator Joe Manchin just won re-election in a tight race last Tuesday. Does he think Republicans and Democrats can work together on Capitol Hill? Going to ask him next.
Plus, some companies could microchip their workers in order to boost security. What do you think about that? Is it going too far? We're sending Deuce on the loose to microchip Brian. We can't wait for Steve Ducey. Come on out, Steve.
Good morning. Welcome back. Time for some quick headlines. Concealed carry permits skyrocketing over 1,400% in Washington, D.C. It comes after a legal ruling made it easier to get one. The Daily Caller reports nearly 1,900 permits have been issued this year. And employees at one company will need permits if they want to bring their Christmas gift to D.C. Ben Shot, which sells glassware embedded with bullets, is giving 16 full-time employees guns for the holidays. The Wisconsin company's owner says it's a way to promote safety and team building. Ben Shot is requiring the employees take a gun safety course. Steve. Or Brian.
All right, or I'll take it, Jillian. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. The new session of Congress has not even started yet, but Democrats are already promising to make life miserable for the president and for Republicans. For example,
the investigations are sexy. They're interesting.
I take subpoenas very seriously. Investigation.
Investigative.
We are not doing any investigation for a political purpose, but to seek the truth.
So as we head into a new start, will Democrats and Republicans be able to work together? Here to weigh in is Democratic West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. Good morning to you, Senator. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much. Good morning to both of y'all.
So we've heard that if Democrats took back the House, that it would be investigation. A lot of Americans don't want that. What are your plans? Do you think you can work together, or will we see more of these investigations?
Well, you know I can work together, because bottom line is my election was brutal. All elections are brutal today. But people were saying very, very succinctly and clearly, we want health care fixed. And we can do that. And I've asked the president, he could be the Mr. Repair Care. We'll call it Trump Repair Care, because he could fix this to where it basically reduces the rates, it protects people with pre-existing condition, on and on and on. We have a fix for that. And I'm going to be talking with Lamar Alexander again, Patty Murray. Hopefully we can get that moving in the right direction. Immigration, we had in 2013 a bipartisan immigration bill led with border security first. So the president can get his absolute total commitment for border security from all of us and do that before we do anything else. That was in the 2013 bill. That might be something I would like to think that they could look at. So Democrats ought to come in with a ability to say, okay, let's get off the dime now. Let's make some things happen. Let's work together. If they come in just swinging and against everything, then it's exactly what the people have said they don't want anymore. They can't stand any more of this. We're here to get things done and protect the people in America, fix the things that are wrong, and basically keep our country strong and safe.
And Senator,
That's
you're
our
right.
job.
You're right. That the Republicans kept saying Obamacare, we're going to get rid of it and going to replace it, and they couldn't do it. So the House gave you a version, the Senate couldn't get it done. So Trump Repair Care, we'll see if he's open to that. Do you think Senator Schumer would be open to that? Have you bounced this off him?
I have. They know where I stand, and I'll be speaking loud and clear, Brian. There's no censor right now at all. I'm basically back with the mandate to get things done. People in West Virginia want their health care. They want it fixed. We're not going to blame anybody. And the president, basically, they've tried. He did everything he could with Obamacare. That is not okay. It's gone. What we can do is fix what we have in front of us. We know what doesn't work. We know that the reinsurance plan in Alaska works well. Indiana had a good plan. There's some things that we have been able to do that would really work. Let's do it. He's the only one who can make it happen. He can only make that happen. He can fix the immigration problem. He can make that happen by looking at what we've already done in the Senate in 2013 and tweaking that some to where he would be happy with. But it's totally committed to border security. $42 billion, I think, or more. We voted, and nothing can happen until the border is totally secured.
Well, speaking of the border, what's going to happen with the wall? What can you predict?
Well, the wall, and I've said this all along, if you talk to the expert, there's going to be 700 to 900 miles of wall that has to be built to secure our border in areas that there's no other way to secure. Other than that, we're going to use technology. At our ports of entry, we'll be using better sensors and being able to survey all the stuff coming in. On our mail coming in with a lot of the fentanyl and illegal drugs, we can do a better job with our postal service and with all the different carriers. These are all part of it. That was part of our 2013 bill, which now maybe we can sit down and work with the president and his staff and look at something in a bipartisan way.
Yeah, we'll see, because the House is going to get you something in this lame duck session, and I'm very curious to see if it's going to go anywhere with the Senate. Senator, you have an opportunity to really show leadership here on your side. See if you have somebody work with us on the Republican side.
Well, Brian, I always look for that. I have these are all my friends. I don't look at one person in that Republican or Democrat that's not my friend and my colleague, and I'm going to work with it. I haven't campaigned against any of them, never will, never have, not going to do it. I think to build a collegiate type of working atmosphere here, we need a good working atmosphere. And we can do this, but you've got to put the country first. It's not about the party, it's the country.
I hear you. Thanks, Senator. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
You got it. And congratulations on the victory. Meanwhile, straight ahead, some companies are thinking about putting a microchip in their workers in order to boost security. Would you do that? Or is that going too far? I'm still on the shelf.
Deuce is on the loose. He's going to ask people what they think. But first, let's check in for what's coming up. At the top of the hour, there's Bill. Hey, Bill. Didn't know if I was tossing to you or Sandra.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Track you all day long, guys. Good morning. Breaking overnight. Serious concerns in southern Israel. We'll tell you why coming up in a moment on that. A heartbreaking day in the front lines in California. Rick Scott, meanwhile, will be in Washington as Mitch McConnell makes the case for Congress to work together. How's that going to go? As they sort through the mess in Florida, Katherine Harris is our headliner today. So come join Sandra and me in about 10 minutes. We'll see you at the top of the hour in America's News.
Concern is growing that some companies are thinking about implanting microchips into their employees to boost security. It would go right there, Brian.
Wow. All right. Is that fine or over the line? Steve's asking the people of New York City. Steve, fine people.
That's right. Hey, hi. Hey, you going to work right now?
Yeah.
Got a question for you. To get in where you work, do you have to show a badge or flash a card or something?
Don't know. It's my first day.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you do if, as you go to your job, they say, okay, your new job, you're going to have to implant a chip in your hand, and then you just wave it on the way in, and you'll get in?
No way.
Why not?
I wouldn't do it.
All right.
Too much Big Brother.
Big Brother, okay.
Too much.
What kind of line of work are you in?
Audiovisual.
Okay, very good. Good luck on the big day.
Thanks.
All right. His first day, and he's on TV. He should play the lottery. These folks, we saw them earlier. They were out with Janice Dean. You heard about the chip thing, right? Let me see the hands. Who thinks this is a really good idea? Because it'll make things so fast. You can just pay. You can get in. Hands? Hands? Okay, why is it a bad idea?
Well, I really don't want to put something in my body like that you don't know what could happen in the future with it.
Well, you know what? I know where you're coming from, but with our golden retriever, we put one of those things in the neck so that if the dog ever got lost, they'd be able to track him down. It worked for that purpose. Why not?
Well, the U.S. government put tracking devices in the guns in Fast and Furious, and they didn't work.
Well, that's an angle I hadn't thought about. Here, come on over here. Let's talk to this guy. Hey, excuse me. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
What would you do if where you work, they said, you know what, to make it faster for you to get in the building, we're going to put a chip in your hand, and then when you walk in, you just wave the hand, and the doors open, and they don't ask you any questions?
I'd say no. No, I wouldn't want that. No, that would be a little bit too advanced for my liking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're probably right. All right. So, Ainsley and Brian, it sounds like it's unanimous. Nobody thinks that's a good idea.